Hiya guys, Crazy Teacher Nick back at you again. Okay, so I'm doing a walkthrough paper one with some student examples, also some planning on how to basically be effective. Okay, in your text, you guys are going to have to do some work with this one, so I'm going to see you guys doing some reading. Okay, let's get on with this. So we're going to be looking at the Usain Bolt and the Talking Trees text. The focus here is mainly going to be on the Usain Bolt paper 1, question 1A, 1B. I would like to do a text on the textual analysis. Hopefully I can get that done before Friday. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time. Even with this video, I had to cut down on some of the frills and spills. So it's going to be quite plain, but I try to make it as interesting as possible. And yes, you're going to be doing a lot of reading, pausing and reading. So get your finger ready on that pause button. Let's go. So first thing we need to make sure that we're thinking about when we get those questions, that we read the question. These questions have been designed very specifically to ensure that you understand exactly what you need to do in the text. So take time, deep breath, pause. You're writing on Friday. So just read the question. You guys know what the question's going to be. The question is not scary, the question is not new. You know what to do, so just read the question. Okay? The text is an extract from autobiography. Immediately I start thinking about my key conventions of an autobiography. Of Usain Bolt, the famous sprinter, fantastic. In the extract, he describes, that word describes tells me it's going to be maybe descriptive. I need to keep that in mind. Okay, the 100 meters race in which he won his first Olympic gold medal. Okay, good. Who am I? So I am a journalist. That is my persona. Okay, so I need to start thinking like a journalist. Okay, it tells me I am at the Olympic 100 meters final. So I'm actually at the event. That is important. That's going to have something to do with how I receive the information, how I share the information, in which Usain Bolt describes. Again, there's that word describes. So it's going to be descriptive. I'm going to need to think about the descriptive language used in the text. Write your report of the race for the sports section of the newspaper. Write about 200 words. Question 1A, only worth 10 marks. Question B, compare. There is your keyword. That is your instruction, the imperative. Compare your newspaper report with the autobiographical extract, analyzing form, structure, and language. So this is the autobiography. This is the actual text that we are given. Okay. So I would like you guys to read it. I'm not going to read through it myself. Okay. Just in order to basically save time for this video. But I'm telling you now, it's going to be worthwhile you actually reading the text before we go forward. I'm tempted to read it for you, but it just adds so much extra time to the video. And then nobody clicks on the videos. So please pause and read. Pausing now. Okay, here is the next section. Okay, look at those sentence structures. That's quite interesting. Look at the fact that some of the words are in italics. That seems quite interesting. And pause. The use of ellipses. Okay, rhetorical devices, ellipsis again, lots of short, very short paragraphs, a pace. Okay, some strange looking words like breda. That's weird, unless you're from Jamaica, man. Okay. And there's the closing. Okay, fab. So, I want you to have a look at this piece of text. The world had wondered, openly, loudly, some may even say rudely, if Usain Bolt was ready. There were rumors of injury, speculation over his commitment to training, worries over his wavering form, suggestions that the triple world record holder might even be psychologically damaged from last year's false start in the World Championships final, from the car crash in June, from his defeat at the hands of his training partner Johan Blake in Kingston, Jamaica, just 5 weeks ago. But when that gun went off in the 100 meters final, Bolt delivered one almighty response to anyone who dared question him, dared to dream of beating him. The Jamaican had to work hard for a victory in which a record 7 out of 8 men ran under 10 seconds. But once Bolt had made up the deficit of his awkward start and drawn level alongside the 4 fastest men in the field, it was easy for him to pull away. At 50 meters, Bolt was already going away, just as his compatriot Asafa Powell dropped back, hit by injury. From there on in, the win, although tight, never looked in doubt. This piece of text is an actual article from the Guardian newspaper of the race. This is a real report by a real journalist of the same event. Take a look. The writer still uses the colon, okay? Still uses language effects, still uses structural devices within their writing. Look at the vocabulary, okay? So this is real. This is a real journalist. You've got to be better than the journalist because you've got to create more devices in your writing. You have to show off to the examiner that you understand how to create effects in writing to have an impact on your reader. And those effects you have to create have got to be comparable. So how do we do that? Remember that I've done videos on this before. We plan 1B to write 1A. The structure of our 1B, paragraphs, overall differences. Paragraphs, key conventions. 2 language devices and 2 structural devices. That's what we need to create. So as much as we need to have the key points in the 1A, we are planning our 1B. We're knowing which language devices we're going to create, which structural devices we're going to create, which key conventions we're going to create, and what overall differences we will create in our writing. So what could the main differences or similarities be between an autobiography and an article? So I thought to myself, okay, the autobiography, the audience is probably going to be Bolt fans. Because I'm a sports writer, the article is going to be sports fans. Did I say sports fans? I meant Bolt fans. Bolt fans versus sports fans, that's a clear difference. Okay? The purpose of an autobiography generally is going to be to entertain, because it's written for an audience. The purpose of a news article is generally going to be to inform and perhaps to entertain, but I'm going to focus on to inform because I just want to show that I understand the main differences between an autobiography and an article in the context of the text. This is part of my planning. The tone in an autobiography might be a little bit reflective. Okay, personal writing. So the tone in the article I thought might be excited, but professional. The register of the autobiography I know is informal because I read it. The register of the article of the sports thing is probably going to be semi-formal. Those are my main differences. The ones that I most probably will discuss are the differences in the audience, the difference in the purpose, okay, the difference in the tone, and the difference in the register. Those are going to be the things that I've decided to focus on. Key conventions. Well, let's have a look. Your key conventions for autobiographies. On the left-hand side, usually written first person, key dates, significant moments, substantial formative moments, significant places. Nah. Reflect on those people who have been important, usually written in the past tense. Key conventions of articles, explore ideas, similar with argumentative or persuasive writing, demonstrate an understanding or authority. That could be interesting. Provide background information. Okay. Present ideas in the present tense. And there was the tense. Usually written in the first person, but can be less personal. So there's a connection there. Could be written in the first person, usually written in the first person in autobiographies. So that's a similarity. Usually written in the past tense, autobiographies, talking about what happened in the past. In an article, they're normally written in the present tense. They might have some reflection on past tense to kind of fill in contextual detail. In autobiography may include current reflections. So there's definitely comparison between the key conventions that I can discuss there. That's part of my plan. Language devices. So in the autobiography, in the text that I saw there was use of rhetorical devices. What are you doing? Do I need to run harder? Can I chill? And the effect on the reader. Okay, so I thought, okay, in my article, I'll definitely use rhetorical devices. Can Bolt do it? Has Bolt recovered from the wobble at Stockholm? Okay, so I'm using the same devices, rhetorical questions. Okay, I'll only use one example from each. And the nice thing is that the effect is probably going to be different. First, language device. The use of colloquial words like dude, chill, man. So we know that the text is going to be that the text was informal. That colloquialisms, definitely thinking about the effect on the reader, considering it as an autobiography. So I'm thinking, what could I use that is kind of similar, but has a different effect? I was thinking, okay, well, jargon or lexical field, so starting blocks, spikes, running shoes. I mean, I don't know nothing about running. Do I look like a runner? Okay, when I was very small, like in the 1820s. I'm very old. So those are words that I remember having associated with the sport of running. You guys probably have better ones than me. But I thought, okay, jargon, that's writing, that's language that basically is associated with the sport. The colloquial words are associated with the writer, their views, so that's got its own effect. The effect, I think, might be quite similar, okay? Is it basically just gives that audience that connection to the reader or to the writer? Connection to the writer. So I think those are some ideas that could work for me there. Or maybe the lexical field, again, similar effect to the use of the colloquial language. Structural devices. So it's an autobiography. I'm thinking, okay. So they got those one sentence paragraphs, the bang and the pow. You guys will remember. You can pause the video, go back. Well, you'd have to scroll back, but it's in the very beginning. You can go check it out, okay? Single sentence paragraphs, they're exclamations, they're onomatopoeic. Okay, bang and a pow, the effect on the reader. I thought to myself, okay, I can create a one sentence paragraph. I can make it an exclamatory by using the exclamation mark, and I can use personification. So onomatopoeia, though it's a language device, I'll create personification in my sentence. My focus is going to be the focus on the use of the one sentence paragraph and the effect on the reader. So I thought, okay, let me also create a bit of sound with that as well, make it a bit more sensory. But my focus is on the fact that it's a one sentence paragraph. The crowd thundered in unison, like the arrival of a drumming storm. Okay, so there's personification, maybe even a bit of a simile as well. Okay? Because remember, you want to fill your text with lots of devices. Show the examiner, I know lots of devices. I can use them all over. So the single sentence paragraph as an exclamatory, that's going to be my focus in terms of my structural device. Okay? Then I had the other one I thought about was like pace. So the text has a lot of very short sentences in quick succession, one after the other. Okay? So obviously that pace allows the audience to feel how fast things were going. I thought, okay, I'm going to use pace as well as a structural device, but I'm going to use long sentences, long complex sentences to slow down the time. The effect is pretty much the same for the reader. They get the pace, they get the movement. In the original text, they broke it down by meters. I was thinking I'll break it down by time. So break it down into these long sentences talking about what is almost happening millisecond by millisecond in a long paragraph, long sentences. So it almost feels for the examiner like a slow motion. So you almost feel that slowing down of the pace so they can understand exactly what is happening second by second. There we go. My structural device is done, my language devices, my key conventions, and my overall understanding of the differences between the two texts. Now I can write my 1A because I know what to put into my 1A. Okay. The mark scheme tells us we need to think about factual information that we'll get from the text. Okay. The venue from the text, the date, I can make them myself. Any other relevant ideas from the text, the tone, definitely going to have an impact on the reader. So I've decided that right at the beginning. I must remember punctuation, comma, no comma splicing. Try and use a colon. Definitely try and use a semicolon. The examiners, if they see semicolons being used correctly, they go, woohoo. They love to throw marks in the text. Exclamation mark, I know I got that one already. Brackets, internal thought, I can definitely use that. Ellipsis, sometimes maybe with the pace, I can use that maybe in my very long paragraph also to slow the pace down. Catchy title, boom, boom, boom. It's an article. I'm going to think of something really catchy, really, really interesting. Maybe use one subheading, two subheadings. Maybe some direct or indirect speech associated with articles. Facts, those I'll get from my text, my 5 W's, the who, what, why, when, and how. 5 W's, something like, you guys know. Third person, now I think third person, I know I thought about using first person, but I think maybe using third person in this square is actually a much better idea, because I can. I write my article just from a third person perspective. It does distance me a little bit from the events, but it's going to definitely be something that is going to be contrast or that can be compared. So when I go back to my comparison and my key conventions, I can say that it's normally written in the first person, but can be written in third person. And that is one of the main differences here. Boom, I've got something else. Lots of strong adjectives because it's a sporting event. So vocabulary I might use like speedy, hasty, streaked, flashed. And I don't know why. Speedy Gonzalez just came to my mind. I don't know if you guys know who Speedy Gonzalez is. He's the fastest mouse in all of Mexico. Okay. Let's have a look at some student examples. Now, this, guys, is where you're going to have to do some pausing. Okay. So I'm going to show you the first page. Pause. Read what the student has done. Pause over. The second page. That's it. 1A done. Okay. Look for the devices that the student has used within their text. Go backwards, forwards if you need to. Look at the language. Look at the punctuation. Look at the vocabulary, sentence structures. Okay. Let's have a look at the next student. This one is typed a little bit easier to read maybe because students' handwriting is like little spiders crawling through ink. Okay. Sentence structures, use of punctuation, use of vocabulary, language, okay? all the devices that the student has used. Another one. This one is brilliant. There's some fantastic ideas. The vocabulary here, outstanding. The punctuation, very, very nice. Okay. So, if I'm marking my 1A, let's have a look at what the examiners are looking for. Okay. Effective expression, few minor errors which don't impede communication. Cambridge really has to check their spelling. When I used to work for an exams board, I would have been shot for not doing it correctly, but anyways. Content is relevant to the audience and the purpose. Detailed understanding, clear understanding of the text, clear expression. So the very first one we saw, I would probably allocate about a 7 out of 10. The second one, 8 out of 10. The third one, 8 or maybe 9 out of 10 if I'm feeling really confident in the student. Maybe a 9. I think there were certain elements of the text that were quite sophisticated. Now, we don't stop. We don't pause. We get on with it because now we've already planned our 1A, so let's go write our 1B. We know exactly what we're going to be doing inside our 1B because we planned it right from the beginning. So now the writing is easy. Overall differences, key conventions, language devices, structural devices. I made some changes to those those overall differences. You need to keep that in mind. Comparative connectives between my different ideas. On the one hand, nevertheless, in contrast, however, there is a video that basically includes all of the comparative connectives. Go check it out. Be direct, be precise, and focus. Entertainment. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's have a look at these student examples again, guys. These are these students in that they've put in a lot of time and effort into them. So do read through them. Okay, it's up to you to pause and read. And those students in that are questioning how should I write when I'm doing my textual analysis, this might give you some ideas as well. Although it's question 1B, the comparative, the language might help you in how to point, evidence, explain. Go check out Teacher Adna. She's got a great video on point, evidence, explain. There's a gazillion on them because you've been doing it since GCSEs. Okay, first part, because this has got a lot of parts, of question 1B for the first student. Read it. Second part, pause, read. I mean, these are not always perfect, but these are good. Number 3, pause, read. Number 4, pause, read. Maybe I should do this in a different accent each time. I could do like Jamaican one. Jamaican accent, man, you must forget. Don't remember. Now you must remember. You must pause and read and pause and pause and read. I don't know, is that Jamaican? Okay. So take a quick break for yourselves. Okay. Go grab yourselves a cup of coffee. Grab something to eat. You've just done a whole lot of reading. Okay. For me, it's been about a minute. For you, it's been maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes of reading because you've been reading really closely and intensely. Take a deep breath and we start again. Next student example, second student. I won't be Jamaican in this one. I will be les French. Huh? Maybe for the French students who is watching this, you want to hear me speaking the French. Okay. And the next page. And the next page. And the next page. You know, the French, they don't like to say so much. They just say, you go. And the next page. And here is time in case you may be needing another break. This is your teacher, your crazy teacher, Nick, when he was visiting Mexico. He went to go stand by the El Castillo, which is very beautiful ruins in Mexico. If you want to, you must go to Mexico. It's amazing, amazing country. The people is very nice. Okay, let's look at the last student example. Read and pause. And read and pause, or pause and read, I think is what it's supposed to be. Okay. Let's have a look at those marks. Again, remember guys, question 1A out of 10 marks. Question 1B, this is the big one. This is the one where you need to get as many marks as possible. Okay. So for the first text, I probably would allocate probably about an 11 out of 15. The second text, probably a 12 out of 15. And the third text, probably a 12 out of 15, or maybe even a 13 out of 15 if I was feeling strong. Okay, so guys, read through those things. Remember, pause, read through it, see how the student has shown their thinking. The thinking is the most important thing. Okay, guys, I will never ask for money, so beware of any scammers. Do not give money to anybody. Okay, please, 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 please study your key conventions. Know your key conventions like you know your multiplications tables. I believe there's a maths exam tomorrow. Okay, you guys are going to be awesome in your maths exam. I believe there's something about measuring space. Okay, study your language devices. Okay, and the effect on the reader. Study your structural devices and the effect on the reader. And remember, analyze. Don't summarize the text. Don't retell the text to the examiner. Doesn't matter, text A, text question 1 or question 2. Analyze the effects. Don't retell the story. Okay. So, I want to wish you guys the absolute best of luck with your exams on Friday. I'm going to try desperately to put together some student examples on text analysis, or try and do something even if it's just short on text analysis before Friday. But if I don't speak to you before then, you guys are going to be absolutely awesome. I wish you the absolute best with your exams, okay? And rock on.